Every time I go to make a recipe, it always makes me crazy because you get all these instructions and they tell you that, oh, it's only going to take 20 or 30 minutes. And it takes 20 or 30 minutes just to cut everything up. So this recipe tonight should only take 30 minutes, and it's a really good one. It's a chicken broccoli stir fry. I already have it on the site, but I figured that let me show it to you live in real time so that you can see that it really only does take that certain amount of time. Okay. And of course you can answer or ask me, I should say, any questions. I'm trying to see if I can get my iPad working, all the technical stuff, so that I can see all your questions. If you haven't joined me live before, I haven't been live on this platform a lot, and I decided to try. So here we go. We're going to go for a big Vidalia onion, which I love Vidalias because they're so sweet. One of the things that I learned from cooking, and I kind of came late to the game of cooking. I'm a really good baker, and I find that it's really difficult to be a good baker and a good cook. It's kind of rare to have that. And so I learned a lot of secrets later in life. And one of them was to always have like a bowl to put all your trash in. Some places actually sell them. Like, seriously, it's just a bowl. And what's nice about it is it gives you everything that you need, and you're not running back and forth. This needs a little bit of sharpening. You're going to find that using a sharp knife makes all the difference in the world. And it's actually much safer for you to use a sharp knife than a dull knife. I have all kinds of kitchen gadgets, and I have a chopper and stuff, but I don't know. I kind of like doing things the old-fashioned way. What do you guys? Do you like the old way, or do you like doing it all brand new? So this recipe is chicken and broccoli. I'm also going to add peppers, and normally I would add water chestnuts, but I don't have any. I really love them because they just add a crisp to it. That's really, really good. So you're just going to chop this up. We're going to add it to our chicken. We're going to start cooking it, and then I'm going to add the broccoli and everything else. So like I said, you could do whichever way works out best for you. All right, I cannot see myself here. So let me see. I just want to see like your comments and your questions because I'm doing it on my phone, and it's hard sometimes when you see all of that. So when you go back on my site, you're going to see that I have lots and lots of recipes. And like I said, I came at cooking a little bit late. I'm not a pro in any way, shape, or form. But I promise you that every recipe on my site is a good one. Oh, let me check the time. Okay, because I want to show you that we can do this in 30 minutes. I have checked all of my recipes and definitely try some. I'll be making more for you live so that you can see, but there's some really, really good recipes on. I do a lot of chicken. I don't know. I just guess I like it a lot. Good protein for you. All right. That looks like we have enough in this. All right. So one of the things that I like to use is a food scoop. It just really helps you when you're going to take a whole bunch of stuff all at once. So makes it super easy for you. For this recipe, we're going to cook the chicken first, along with the onions, and then we're going to add in some of the other things. It doesn't have a lot of seasoning, this recipe, because we actually will use the seasoning in the sauce that we use. If you like Chinese food, this is kind of like Chinese food. It's a stir fry, and you can add so many different things. When you're working with raw chicken, obviously you want to be really careful with that. You want to wash things up really well afterwards, and especially your hands, because when it's raw, you know what happens. I throw everything into this bowl, and then I just dump it once. It makes life so much easier. Here, let me move this so you can see. There you go. Also, I want to be able to give you some nice tips and hints for cooking so that you can do a good job for your family, for yourself, and also to make sure that you're using your products correctly. So one of the things is your knives. Your knives are one of the best investment that you'll ever have in your kitchen, because if you buy the right ones, they last you forever, right? They have a lifetime warranty, and that's why you want to keep them sharp. couple of things. Make sure that you only use a wood or plastic cutting board. And that's really important because what happens is if you use a glass cutting board, or some people have a marble one, or even to cut right on your countertops, it actually won't hurt your countertops, but it'll hurt your knife because that blade is your sharp part, and that's going to actually dull your blade. So you don't want to cut on anything like that. No glass, no countertops. And then also dishwasher. Never put a good knife in a dishwasher because it's not just that the water is hot. It's really the drying area. It's just too, the heat is too hot, and it will end up, I'm sorry, I can't do two things at once. It will end up warping your blades. Plus, in the dishwasher, if they move around, again, your blades will become dull, and you don't want that. So let me think. I think there's one more tip, but I don't remember. Let me think about this. 3 tips for the knives. Cutting boards, keeping them sharp. Oh, and here's a fun one. You should only use a knife as a knife. What does that mean? Well, you're not supposed to use them as screwdrivers, right? When you break your tip off, we know what you were doing with it. So you should never use them for opening up packages or anything like that. Boxes, it's just not what you're supposed to do. And in fact, what I would show you to do is get yourself, oh, of course I don't have it right here, a pair of shears. Here they are. Shears are like the best, all right? You can do everything with the shears, and it saves your knives. All right, let me wash my hands really quickly because, again, we had the chicken over there. You know, it's interesting. I was telling you earlier that I'm a really good baker and not so much a good cook. I learned cooking actually when COVID came. And what's interesting about that is what I like about the difference is with baking, you have to be precise. So baking is chemistry. You have to have the exact amount of baking soda and baking powder and everything like that. Whereas cooking, you get to throw things in. The best cooks that I know are the ones that can literally open up the refrigerator. I have a cuckoo clock. It's actually one of my favorite things. They can open up the refrigerator and just throw things together. And then every time they make it, it's different. You ask them for a recipe. Good cooks don't use recipes. You ask them for a recipe, they don't even know what a recipe is because they just do it all by themselves. So, all right. Also, when it comes time, let me see if we have any questions. There you go. When it comes time to make your, put your pans on, you should always heat your pans up before you put your products in. Because if you put like my chicken in now where my oil is cold, the chicken is just going to suck all of that oil up, and that's not what you want. So let it get warm. Keep stainless steel pans on your stove. Let them warm up slowly. I think the biggest problem that people do is everybody's in a hurry and they try to turn it up. I always yell at my husband. I always say that men, and I'll be very general about this, very sexist, men know 2 controls on the stove, high and off. So calm down, make it a lower temperature, and just give it a minute, right? You can see that the oil will start to like swirl around, and you'll see that it's ready, but just give it a minute. I'm going to be cutting some other things, so I am going to switch cutting boards because I won't have time to wash this one in between. So as soon as I get the chicken in, I am just going to do that. So I'll put this recipe on for you. You can also check it out. Like I said, I already made this. This is something that I make all of the time. What I do a lot in my house is I will make a recipe for 4 people. And even if only 2 people eat it, then I'll make 2 separate leftovers. And it makes it super easy that when it's a quick night and you don't have time to cook, that you can then have a really good quality meal. This one you can serve with, now you should be able to hear it sizzle. Let's hear. See, I waited a long enough time. Hear it? This one you can make with like couscous, or you can make it with, I'm trying not to touch the chicken so I don't have to wash my hands again. Good job. You can make it with rice, whatever you want. So this is going to cook. Like I said, I don't even add any seasoning to it. It actually has plenty of seasoning once I put the sauce in it. So let me grab a new cutting board, grab a new knife. Normally I would just wash the knife. I'm not so bougie like that I change my knife all the time. And so this cooks just for maybe 7 minutes on each side, just to get it nice. And I feel like I want to add some salt to it. I'm going to lie to you, and I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper after I just told you you don't need to do it. Just you don't need a lot, that's for sure. And we're just going to stir it up. Keep it on low. Well, not low. It's like low medium. This is a gas stove, and I have it on like it's 2. So got it going on. Okay, now we're going to cut our broccoli and get ready. And then same thing, you can use that bucket to go ahead and put all your stems in. You can make this as big as you want it. What I like about the stir fries is you can add a lot of things in it, and it'll really help you get the vegetables in that you need. I'm going to add peppers to it, and normally I would have water chestnuts. You can add carrots to it as well. Just, whatever vegetables you guys like. Again, what's nice about cooking is that you don't have to be specific. It's not like baking. Speaking of baking, one of the most popular recipes on my page is something called the world's easiest chocolate chip cookies. I'll make them for you another night, but 100% try them. They are the absolute most delicious cookies, and they are the easiest. I make them every week for my husband because he'll eat them in the whole week. All right, let's see. Is this going to be enough? All right, we'll grab a little bit more. It's also interesting that sometimes you'll like vegetables raw and not cooked, or cooked and not raw. So for me, I never liked peppers. And then somebody made them cooked for me. I've never had them cooked before. And holy moly, what a difference. I love them cooked. Now, I froze my peppers. I live in New Jersey. This is called the Garden State. And we have incredible gardens. And we grow our own fresh peppers. And we get so many of them that I can't cook them all at once. So I do freeze them. Now, freezing them is really good if you're going to cook them like I am tonight. Not so good to eat fresh because they get really watery when they're defrosted. So, but I love to do this. I'll add them to my eggs in the morning. All right, let's see how things are going. And it looks real pretty, right? Look at that. They say that the more colorful, the better off you are. I don't like green peppers. I don't know why. Don't like them. I like all of the other ones, but not green. The weirdest part about that is they actually tell you that green peppers, all peppers start as green peppers, and that, the more they mature, then you get the red, the yellow. So I don't know. I guess maybe they're sweeter. Maybe that's why, right? All right, so let's get this cooking a little bit more. I'm going to put the lid on it so that it cooks a little bit more. When you put the lid on it, the steam will actually come up and cook it from both sides, and that makes it really nice and easy. I do follow recipes, and that I think comes from baking, because as I said, with baking, everything has to be on a recipe, and I always have to follow a recipe. Even if there's something that I know, maybe I just don't trust myself, and then I still make myself follow the recipe. Do you guys follow recipes, or are you those ones that just throw it in? So it's funny. So, like I said, I was always a good baker. And what happened over COVID is, if you're on my channel, you already know that I sell Princess House. I've been selling Princess House for 40 years. And so I used to go out and do home presentations, right? I would come to your house. I would bring my product. You would invite your friends. We'd make food. We'd have a fun night together. That's how I did my business. And then, of course, COVID hit. Like, I remember exactly March 13th, 2020, I looked at my husband and I was like, oh, I'm out of business. Like, that was fun while it lasted, but now I don't even have a job, because I thought, nobody's going to want to, right? Nobody's going to want to have any in-home presentations because you remember lockdown. So I got really nervous and I wanted to do something fun for my people. I had a lot of really good community of Princess House people. And so I decided to start, because if you remember the beginning of COVID, right? In the beginning, everybody was scared. Work was shut. School was shut. You weren't supposed to go out. You were supposed to just stay in your house, quarantine. It was crazy. And so people were home that were never home before with their kids, making them crazy. And so I decided to do lunch with Linda. And every day at 12 o'clock, I came on and I did a recipe and I would try all new recipes. The first thing that I had to do was get all new spices because I'm telling you, I was never a cook. I'm going to show you. Oh, my counter's really dirty. I don't want to show you. My favorite drawer is my spice drawer. I have a whole drawer of spices. So that's the first thing I had to do was go out and get new spices to be able to make these recipes. And I tried different recipes. I just got them from different people and I would extra throw things in or whatever. And it was really interesting to me to be able to do that. And so that's how Lunch with Linda started. And then I started to do the recipes. And that's how I taught myself how to cook. I would just try different recipes, something that sounded good. And then I just went from there. So it's really interesting because I have 4 children. Now, don't get me wrong. I cooked for my children the whole time, right? It's not like I didn't cook for them. I cooked all the time. I just wasn't a great cook. You can ask them. I didn't pay attention to cooking. I didn't pay attention to times. So things were overdone. Plus, I like things well done to begin with. So anyhow, so what ended up happening was my kids will not remember me being a great cook. They'll remember me being a good baker, but not a great cook. But I have a 9-year-old grandson. And my grandson got the best of me. I used to babysit him 2 days a week for 7 years until they moved away. Darn kids think they can just move and take your grandkids with them. Anyhow, I digress. So I would go every week and we would cook together and we would make all kinds of stuff and decide, what do you want to try? And so he thinks I'm the best cook in the world. He cracks me up. They live in Florida. I live in New Jersey. It's about 1,000 miles away. I visit them once a month. I literally fly. I just got back because luckily where I live, I can get a flight cheap and I go visit them every month for about 4 days. And I cook the whole time that I'm there because I load up their freezer to make sure my son is a single dad. It's not like he doesn't cook, but anyhow. So he just thinks I'm the best cook in the world. My son says, you got him fooled. I'm like, I know. All right. So now my chicken is all cooked. You can see that, right? It didn't take long. And then what I'm going to do is adding all of this stuff. So now I'm going to add, hopefully nothing's going to fall onto my stove or my floor. There you go. I'm going to add my broccoli and I'm going to add the peppers. And I'm going to put the lid back on. And this only has to cook for about 5 minutes. While this is cooking, I'm going to make the sauce. So this is the base to the sauce. Do I have a bowl? Oh, there's my bowl. Hold on, I had the onions in it. Okay. So this is soy sauce. You always want to get low sodium soy sauce because soy sauce is so high in sodium as it is. This doesn't count as not being good to your knife because all I'm doing is taking off the lid. It just measures much easier that way. So this is going to be 2/3 of a cup. And I don't know if you know this, but when you measure, see, remember, I came from baking school, so it has to be precise. You should always measure at eye level. Yeah, to make sure it's where it needs to be. All right, put my little thing back in. I think I have to put this in the refrigerator now. I think once you open it, you have to refrigerate it. Oh, look at that. It's gluten-free. It doesn't say. You have to put this in the refrigerator? I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Okay, so we're going to take soy sauce, brown sugar. So we need 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Oh, here's another tip. Brown sugar, right? A lot of the times when you store sugar, I just spilled that. Did you see? Oh my goodness. All right, that wasn't so smart. A lot of the times when you when you make when you have sugar, brown sugar, wonder if I have to put more in now, right? Because I really lost a lot. Did you see how much I spilled? That was a big amount. Maybe I'll add some more. Again, the nice thing about cooking, doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have exact measurements. Okay, so the nice thing about sugars is what happens is they get lumpy over time, right? I think I'm just making a bigger mess now. So what you can do to keep your sugar soft, I have like a, what do they call this? A terracotta disc that you can use. But if you want to use something else, you can also use literally a piece of bread. So take a piece of bread, as long as you're not gluten-free, and if you are, use gluten-free bread, and just put it in here and let it stay in there. And what will end up happening is you will see that the bread will get rock hard, but your sugar will stay soft. And I do that all the time. So this is a quarter of a cup. When you measure brown sugar, you pack it down. So it's a quarter of a cup. Let's see if I cannot. Oh my gosh, it's still. Where's that little rag? All right. So my chicken is cooking. My broccoli, my vegetables are cooking. We're just going to get them a little soft. And then I'll get a little whisk. I'm going to have to add some ginger. How much of this do I need? 1/2 of a teaspoon. I got these little magnetic spoons. They're so cool. I love them. I love them for a couple reasons. So number one, they have a round edge on the one side and oval on the other. So what I do is when I'm using a recipe, this is a 1/2 teaspoon. Maybe I need it for 2 things. I can use one side for dry ingredients and one side for wet ingredients without having to wash it. The other thing is some of your bottles are thin, and so the oval one works a little bit better. It also comes with a leveler. So once you have it in there, perfect. So yeah, I like this little set. And it was cheap. It was like 10 bucks. They also come in colors. I think next time I would get them in colors. All right, 1/2 teaspoon ginger. That one's in. And then a pinch of red pepper flakes. And that's on you. That's how spicy you decide you want this. I also never used to have spices in my food. And I was missing a lot. All right, now I gotta stir it up really easy so I don't get it all over myself because I do not have an apron on. So this is the sauce that's going to add a little bit of sweetness. It only has a 1/4 cup of brown sugar in the whole thing. Other than that, it's all healthy for you. It's chicken, vegetables, right? 2 tablespoons of oil. All right, and now what we're going to do, let me wash out my cup a little bit here because I need this again. Now what we're going to do is to add cornstarch. And cornstarch thickens things up. So now we're going to take the cornstarch and we're going to have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and then 2 tablespoons of water. I'll be right back. 2 tablespoons, 1 and 2. All right. And then we're going to mix this up. And now it all comes to perfection. Now look, we've been on for about 20 minutes. So this is definitely something that you can make in 30 minutes. This is truly a 30-minute one. And if you want to save some more time, you could have your vegetables and stuff pre-cut, like in the morning maybe before you go to work. Pre-cut your vegetables, right? You got your kids eating breakfast. You can get ready. Pre-cut your vegetables, pre-cut your chicken, and put it in the refrigerator. Then when you come home that night, it's even less time. Because when you come home at night, you're tired, you're stressed from work. Oh, you know what else would be good in here? Those little miniature corns, right? You can get them at the Asian stores, miniature corn, or what are those? Snap peas, sugar snap peas. They'd be really good. All right, so look, you can see how beautiful this is? All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to push it aside. Can you see that? Yep. Maybe I should do it this way so you can see it. Nope, I think you see it this way better. Push it aside to one side. And now we're going to add in the sauce. You know what? This is a little wet. Hold on, that chicken was a little wet. I'm gonna strain off some of the water. It doesn't need to be that wet. See, I'm learning. Took me a little while, but I'm learning. All right, strain that off. Okay, there we go. All right. So now it's to one side, right? You can see that. And now we're going to add in the sauce. And then what we're going to do is add in the cornstarch. Can you see how it changes colors? We're going to stir it up a little bit. And then this is our sauce. That will end up thickening up over time. So now what we want to do is to just put everything back over top of it. And then we're going to let it cook for 5 minutes. And what it's going to do is it's going to thicken up. And I want to show you how nice and thick it gets. Can you see how pretty this is? Oh, you know what else would be good in here? Oh, I wonder if I have any. Cashews. Let's see what I have. All right. You get to see my mess. All right. We have croutons. That won't work. So not only do I have some cashews, but look, they're sriracha cashews. Woo, that's going to be good. There'll be a little, I told you I like things a little spicy. I wonder if I should cut them up a little bit. I might cut them. Oh, I'm so excited that I had cashews. What else would you add to this? Do you have any ideas? I'm going to come back and see all your comments that I missed because I'm sure I did. I always love new recipes, but sometimes you get these cookbooks and they have really fancy recipes in there with spices that cost so much money that, you know, I'm going to spend $8 for a bottle of spice and not even know if I like the recipe. So I like that all of these recipes, I'm telling you, trust me. Go on my page. You can try any recipe you want. They're all good because I'll tell you why. I am not the kind of a person that test things out. Like the first time I ever made this recipe was I just videoed it at the same time. But if a recipe ever does not come out good, I delete the video. So I'm telling you, it's good. Can you see that this is getting thick already? Yeah, you can. Look, can you see it? So now this is it. It's done. This 23 minutes. It's done. And like I said, over rice. I'm going to show it to you in a second. Give me a minute. It looks so good. Look. Oh, I know what else. I keep remembering these things. Sesame seeds. Whoop, whoop. Look at this. Oh, let me shut it off because it's done cooking. Isn't that gorgeous? Right? So I'll put the recipe down. I forgot to make my rice. So I got to go make my rice. Water chestnuts are cool because they don't have any taste to them. They're really just a crunch. And that's, I think, what I like about them so much. So, all right. I don't know if I have any rice. I'm one of those kind of cookers that I don't always pay attention. In fact, tonight when I got ready, I was so excited to make this recipe. And I thought I had everything. And then I'm like, I don't think I have any soy sauce. So I had some teriyaki sauce downstairs that I was going to, that I was going to make instead. So I should have made this first because now that's ready and this isn't. But I think this is super quick. Oh, microwave, 15 minutes. Boo, 15 minutes. All right, I'll learn my lesson. So, yeah, so there's my recipe for tonight. In case you missed it, I'll come back and show you one more time. Chicken, broccoli, stir fry. Stir fry. Yeah? Yay. That's a good one. All right, my friends, come back and join me again when I do my next live. I'm going to try to come on way more often so that you can get some really good recipe ideas. But that was literally 25 minutes, start to finish, cutting everything, and you have a delicious dinner. So